So today I'm about 2 miles out of Bakewell, Ashford on the water. I've come to find a couple of old mills dating from around about 1770. I believe at least one of them was once a bone crushing mill, been out of use for a very long time. Left to rack and ruin for a little while, but now they're still stood there and I'm hoping to go and find them. So we've got the A6 over there. The River Wye is down there, which would have provided water for these mills. The name of these mills appear to be Shacklow Mill. 2 buildings remain. I think one was a store, and I think there's water mill wheels as well. I've gone along the A6 and spotted these a couple of times in recent months. So I'm going to jump back to Ashford in the water and follow up to where I am now, so you know how to find these. So coming off the A6, I've come across Sheepwash Bridge, done about 2 minutes on the A6, and we've turned left as if we're going to a little village called Sheldon. We have to go around this tight bend and then we will cross the River Wye, and I'm hoping there's going to be a footpath right beside it. Yeah, coming off from here, so we've come up there, coming off the road, and we've got a footpath dead ahead of us, a kissing gate. There's a nice little weir down there. I can hear the water spewing over and going through a culvert under the A6, but this is what we've got ahead of us. Look, nice little kissing gate. Let's get myself through there eventually. This looks nice, doesn't it? And we follow the River Wye all the way to our 2 abandoned mills. And what I'll also do is put a map on, as per all the videos, to show you exactly where I began and where I ended up, so you know the location of what we've come to find in this video today. I actually thought this was a sheep laying down from the distance, and then it got longer and I realised it wasn't. Things can be so deceptive. It's almost like a flying dragon now, look. Have I just got a weird imagination, or has my sheep just turned into a dragon? So the River Wye is momentarily curved away. You may have seen it from the drone footage. Are they cows or bulls in that field? Seeing the gates open, I'm hoping they're just cows. They appear to have udders, so that's nice. A6 over there, probably around about a third of the way towards our mills now. I'm really looking forward to seeing these. What I'm looking forward to seeing, aside from the buildings and the mill wheels themselves, is the water races are apparently still there, and I don't know if we can have a look inside any of them, because they're going to be very low down, aren't they? But I've got my torch just in case we can shine a beam up there and have a little look. So the river is still over there, the River Wye. We're sticking to a footpath. This is a public footpath, and you can also find it on any of the apps like OS Maps, for example. I can see them. They're just down here behind my big head. Let's go and have a look. So these buildings were built roughly around about 1870, and I believe this one was used as a store mill, and it lay derelict for quite some time. Look at this huge piece of stone here. That would have been used for something, wouldn't it? Comments down below what you think that might have been for. But I think this is actually being used for its original purpose yet again, maybe for maintaining the area, or there's an angling club I believe uses the area just here, the River Wye. So I think that is being used for storage equipment. You might have noticed that I showed you a water mill wheel a moment ago. We'll look at that one in a second. Now that also looks like maybe a pump house or another storage room, but I think we could go behind the very first building. Yeah, looks like we could do something. So side door there, look, and you might have to make out where there was some steps going down, so an upper storage section, wasn't there? Let's have a rummage down here, and evidence of another door right there, look. So around the back, and another doorway sized entrance, isn't there? So all manner of ways in and ways out. Now obviously this is ground level, but through there that would have taken you to the upper level. And yeah, another door just there, look. It's fantastic, isn't it? What a beautiful building. Now look at that. That's stunning. We're going to look at that one in a moment. I'll come back up, but first of all let's finish off looking at this one. So I can get down there. You can just make out the pick marks in that stone block above that door, look, and also around the frame. And back down to the front, I can get you right up to this mill wheel. Isn't that just something else? You see how deep it is in the pit, so you've got to imagine the water used to come around. It looks like it still does occasionally. That's very damp and sludgy down there, isn't it? So there's the lead, or the race, coming around and shooting underneath that water wheel, which would have caught it, spun around the wheel, and you can see where there's also an arm coming off, and it would have rested on the top of that stone block. So something to do with that one again, isn't it? Let's get us in nice and close. Oh, bit of a drop down there. Yeah, you can see all the gearing all the way around, look, down to the bottom. The amount of times this must have gone round in so many thousands, hundreds of thousands of revolutions, doing its job, grinding the bone to create the fertiliser for the farmland. This is beautiful. Now then, we'll go around here and you can see the main mill cottage just there, look. Now it looks like it was boarded up all the way around. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it. That's quite a jump. I could step down there, but I think I'd have a job getting up. You can see the hexagonal iron frame windows. If I hold the camera still long enough, or I jump down here. There we go, look. So I can get you a little bit closer, look. You can just make out the hexagonal patterning in the window. 1, 2, 3, 4 panes across. A double doorway at the back, and that one's boarded up. If I can get over there, I will poke my nose into that window. So what I shall do, I'll go around the front of the main mill building and see if I can walk around this side and have a look at those windows. If not, I'll attempt to step down and step back up, because that looks very, very firm just there, doesn't it? And see if we can get a look inside the window there. So let's have a look at maps, and I can show you exactly how I got here. So if you're not familiar with the area, that is Ashford in the water. And the main road going from right to left is the A6, coming from Bakewell on the right hand side. Just here there's a little turn off for a small village or hamlet called Sheldon, And as soon as you've got up there, on the right hand side after a couple of 100 metres, there's a footpath that follows the River Wye. With the River Wye forever on your right hand side, it loops away from you on a couple of occasions before you approach a footbridge, and the mill buildings are right down here as you see that opening and the road going back to the A6. Going back to this map from the early 1900s, you can see that it is labelled up as a sawmill. I believe it was a bone crushing mill prior to this, being used for fertiliser, and then a sawmill later on. There were two buildings on the site remaining, I believe. The first one that we briefly passed on the footage before arriving at the two main buildings is not on this map, so that is a later construction. And it looks like there's also a weir to go and have a look at too. The buildings for the mill were built in 1870 and they are now grade 2 listed. And the water wheels are apparently a very rare or unique design, and they are both made from iron. So we've got ourselves another wheel on the opposite side. So you can see it's very, very overgrown here. So I'm not sure if I can get to... Oh yeah. There we go, look. Ooh. So that's quite a drop down, isn't it? So water's escaping under there somewhere. Looks like there's a ladder down the bottom left, but it seems to be missing all of its paddles. I don't know the name. What are they called? I will call them paddles, but you know what I mean. It moves the water around and spins the wheel. So this one is in worse condition than the other side. I'm unsure if I'm going to be able to get you over to the other side or not, because it's all like this. There is something else there. We'll go and look at that in a moment. But back around to the front of the mill, the window and door layout appears to be exactly the same. 1, 2, 3, 4 panes across the top. You might be able to again make out that hexagonal iron trellis shape in there. There's the main door just there. Don't know if we'll be able to see anything. No. Oh yes, you can. You can just make it out, because if I tried to shine my torch in there, it would just blow up all the door itself rather than you see anything. So I'm hoping it can still get around the other side and shine the torch through. Let's go and have a little moment and see what this is. This looks like some kind of hoist. Not sure if this is a path. It appears to be clearing. Yeah, so there's some sort of construction. There's a stone wall just there, look. Can we get through there? Look, oh look, I can reach through, but I can't. There's another wheel, look. A third wheel just there. You can also see where there's a stone foundation, look, where the water came through and beyond there. This is lovely down there. It's very lush and green. I think we can get you round to have a bit of a look. Oh look at that. How about that? So water's flowing out. If we come around the other side of this wall without damaging any nature, I can take you right here, look. How about that? So water is clearly being dropped out back into the River Wye. What that would be for, I don't know. Whether it was used to drop this into place or pull it out when it needed repair work, I'm unsure. But it's still got everything attached, look. Oh, it's got some missing on that side. It's fantastic, isn't it? So I wonder if this little one was used for fresh water for the village somehow. And the culvert just there, look. Lots of logs and trees, isn't there, that's fell down there. Right, now we've found this third wheel, I'm going to go back up to the path we originally went on behind the first building, because we still haven't found a way to get to that lead, have we? I'd like to see behind the mill cottage to get a bit of a closer look. But this is great. I'm really pleased that we found this. So the diversion clearly begins up there, and the water once came down here. Maybe any excess came down there, and that's what the small wheel was for, that we've just been looking at on the opposite side. But I need to potentially get behind that cottage again and drop down somewhere and go behind the main mill. So here we've got a weir dropping the water down a level for the River Wye to come around and down. And what's happening here, this is the junction of the river and for the Leat. You can see where the water is leaving the River Wye, and there's a bit of a makeshift dam just here. Look, this probably was a bit more built up to control the flow when the mill was in use, but there is still a flow of water coming out. And you might remember when we was down at that third wheel that we've just been looking at, there was a slight flow of water coming out of that. So this is going to be that. So I can cross this Leat just here where it starts and back up onto that footpath, which will take me behind the mill buildings. But this is lovely, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. Okay, carefully gonna stand on that log. Of course, a bit sketchy this is. I'm going over, and I've made it. Still got the flow of water, so I need to get up here and get us behind the mill buildings. They're just the other side of there. Right, if I carefully go down to where this tree has been cut away. So there's that little culvert that goes under the path to the smaller third wheel. Up there is where we've just crossed over. So stood behind that larger width mill wheel cottage just there. Look, down there, if we zoom you right in, oh, maybe a bit more, there we go, look, you can just make out the archway of where the water used to run through. So there's a culvert down there, isn't there? Might be able to get you in a little bit closer. Oh, look at that. Let's see if I get the light on that. Yeah, now we can see inside. Look, so once inside, it takes a tight right turn, like a 90-degree angle, so it's going like as if it's round the front where my beam's pointing. It's going to go around the front of the main mill building. That's really good. Get you in a little bit closer. Look, you can just see that back stone wall. That's rather nice. I want to truly believe that I'm going to sink if I go that way. I don't recommend it to anyone, so I'm not going to do it myself. But you can see where I've come down this little bit, and my squidgy footprint marks have penetrated into the mud. So I'm going to attempt to get out of here back up to the footpath, and probably going to have to go back to the mill wheel and just try it that way. There we go, nicely done. Stepped down and stepped up. That's nice, isn't it? So I can point you through the window and we can see inside. Look, not a great deal to see, so if anyone wants to come and tamper with this, there's absolutely no point getting in there because it's just not worth it. So I honestly saying, please don't come and try and break into this, because that's not what it's here for. It's being looked after and it's preserved for everyone to see, and there's nothing in there, I can tell anyway, so it's hardly worth it. So that's the muddy leat that I didn't attempt to come up, but looking at it, it looks like water still does occasionally rush down it. I think I ought to pop back here, heavy rainfall in the winter, and see if we can have a look at this again in full flow, because water has been up there. You can see there's like a tide mark. Now you can see it's very, very sketchy to get to that mill wheel. I don't see the point in me attempting it because that's slippy moss. We've already seen it. There's going to be nothing else to see. Doorway and window is boarded up. We've got to see that. I need to get her back to the other side now. Right, made it safely down and up. Be very careful if you're going to come here because there are some drops, and I wouldn't like to think anyone will have any kind of incident. I'm assuming around there. We can't get to it. I'm going to lean as best I can. The water takes, yeah, I could just see, I don't think you're going to see it, but the actual culvert there goes off to the right and it would follow underneath there. But this is all public land, footpaths all around, so I've climbed over no fences to do it, just in case anyone was wondering. It's all here for everybody to enjoy. It's a fantastic location. Hidden history. It's not quite hidden, is it? But you need to know it's here to know it's here. As for this little building, I have no idea. It's got to be some sort of pump house, hasn't it? But it does say strictly no admittance, so we're not going to do anything that involves going in there, but you can see it, look, for the front. Huge, huge doors all the way down. Nice little bridge just there too, look. So a revisit to the map from the early 1900s. So we know that there are just the two buildings left. We've got the main mill building just here, and we've got what looks like some kind of storeroom building just there. You notice there is other buildings on this map which have obviously since been demolished, and the pumping station has gone. We've got the weir on the bottom left hand corner, which created the diversion for the leat that fed the water mills, and the third small water wheel was probably used in the past for raising water to Sheldon village. That's around about half a mile south above the River Wye. So I'm going to head back to Ashford in the water. That was beautiful, wasn't it? Those mills that we've just been to see. Any more suggestions of places like that as hidden away but steeped in history, and still very well intact they were, weren't they? Considering their age. Let me know, comments below. If you know more details on what we've just looked at, comment below. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the very next one. Bye bye. As always, you can follow me on all the social medias popping up below. Twitter, formerly known as X, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. Drop your suggestions on social media if you like, or just comment below. Thank you very much.